What is up, everybody? This is the Wild Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Heskett, and this is episode 51. Today's guest is Ashley. She goes by Ashtagfit on Instagram, so make sure to go give her a follow after the episode. But we are going to talk a lot about fitness, nutrition in terms of bodybuilding today. So kind of like myself, Ashley found bodybuilding and powerlifting. While I never competed in powerlifting, she does. She has competed in 3 bodybuilding shows and 2 powerlifting meets. And she's going to talk about her journey, kind of getting into that. And then obviously, most of the audience here is not going to be powerlifters and bodybuilders, but you're going to be able to take a lot of the things she has learned along the way and apply that to your own health and fitness journey. She also has a podcast called What the Fitness Podcast, which will be starting up again soon. So stay tuned for that. Again, that will be down in the show notes. But without further ado, let's get this started. What's up, Ashley?
What's up? Not much. Just living the dream out here.
Living the dream. All right. So I've been following you for quite a while. I love your content, but tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Ashley, and I've basically been an athlete my whole life since, I don't know, 3rd grade till today. And I'm almost 29. So I played sports growing up, and I was a college athlete. I threw javelin in college. So that was really fun, and I was lucky to be able to do that. After college, I kind of had a point where I didn't really know what to do with myself and how to get myself motivated, because I wasn't necessarily competing for a sport or forced to go to practice every day. So there was a point in time where I did struggle with my fitness journey. But ever since I found dog mom life, I also have 4 dogs. Ever since I found kind of like my niche of bodybuilding became my comfort zone. And more recently, I've jumped into some powerlifting as well, which I really enjoy. And being a wellness athlete, I think powerlifting definitely only helps that goal that I have as far as bodybuilding goes. So it's kind of where I'm at today and where I've been, and just kind of doing all the things.
Nice. So you compete in the newer wellness division they created?
Yeah. Okay. And it's perfect for me because I have a lot more muscle on my lower body. My upper body is definitely not lacking, but it's definitely a great division for girls who grew up like me and played soccer, were catchers, played volleyball, nothing but just leg work day in, day out.
When it announced, there are a few bodybuilding coaches that I followed that were like complaining about the division, like it's an unbalanced physique, blah blah blah. I'm like, how's it like? I don't understand like how it's like like that actually looks like how most girls want to look when they train.
I think a lot of coaches get kind of ruffled feathers when it comes to wellness if they are more old school and they follow old school bodybuilding. It just kind of ruffles feathers. But the other thing is, a lot of people and coaches abuse it, and they will throw athletes in that aren't necessarily prepared to be on stage, thinking that wellness is a good fit and that it's going to fly because they're not as cut as a bikini or figure athlete. So that's where a lot of people get a little.
Wellness is still pretty lean.
Most shows, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, they're at least as lean as bikini competitors.
You're supposed to be. Yeah. The goal is they really want to see tie-ins for your glutes and hamstrings. And if you look at more of a national level, then you definitely see that. But more locally, it can get a little bit of, I don't want to be mean, because anyone who gets on stage, you got to give that credit to them. That's a big step in itself, is getting yourself out there in a bikini. But I think some people use and abuse that division to be a little less cut.
Hmm. It's the less cut division's always been bikini. It's like bikini, like it was bikini. Then the next level, like more muscle, more definition was figure, and then they had physique, and then bodybuilder. Like it just got more
Right.
cut and more muscular. Like now they have wellness, which is kind of like this in between figure, and like that doesn't. I don't know. To me, it does. I can't create that connection of like, oh, you're less lean. Like we'll just put you here. That sounds like you're a
Yeah.
crappy coach. Like your athlete's not ready.
Yep. 100%. That's where I would say that falls if people are complaining about it. And it's also just a lack of understanding, some people just don't even realize that that is what they're looking for, and they're seeing athletes that aren't necessarily wellness criteria per se. So
Yep. So on your content, you like to break down a lot of like fitness myths and stuff on your Instagram, which I love seeing. I and the comment section's always great when you get the random hater in there, because you just go right into them, which is great. But let's go over some of your favorite fitness myths. Two of them you have are like cardio and hit workouts while eating like super low calorie.
yeah, I think that's a little bit more old school thinking as well. We all hear that, I did cardio for 60 minutes today and I feel accomplished, or I ate a salad today. I'm doing so good. And I think there's a disconnect between all the fitness influencers and people who really don't know anything about fitness, and whichever side you're on, it's fine. Um, but understanding that the goal isn't to eat the least amount of calories. The goal isn't to lose weight by doing hours of cardio. The goal is to be able to find a physique that you're comfortable with, gain strength, gain muscle mass, um, and increase your calories at the same time at the end of your system that you're going through. Or I don't want to call it a diet because I hate that word, but at the end of your program. And I hear it so often, time and time again. And it's like you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. People have to figure it out on their own. But the goal again is not to be eating as little amount of calories as possible and saying you lost weight. I don't think that's something to brag about. All you're doing is creating a vicious cycle and gonna end. I mean, you're not gonna be able to lose weight after a certain point. And I say this over and over and over. Once you hit, like once your body gets to that point of adjusting to you eating 1,200 calories, you're not going to lose weight after a certain point. You're going to have to cut some more. And that's why bodybuilders go through phases of cutting and bulking, because you need to find that maintenance again, increase from there. So that way your next go round, you can eat even more and lose weight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I always, um, being myself in the bodybuilding world, it was like you said, you have seasons of bulking, get your calories up, get back to maintenance, get your hormones in check,
Mm-hmm.
build some more muscle, and then you go into a cut phase. But Debbie, the soccer mom, thinks she can just diet year round. It's like, no, like the people who are getting leanest in the world, like that's bodybuilders. They're the leanest people in the world. They go through phases and then they don't maintain this physique year round.
Mm-hmm.
But you think you can do that with your hit sessions without any accountability, eating like a salad.
Yeah. And it's sad to watch people go through that cycle, and eventually a lot of people realize it when it's too late and a lot of the damage is done hormonally, mentally, physically, uh just everything. I mean, because people do this for years and years and years of yo-yo dieting. Basically, it's what
Mm-hmm.
it is. And they crash and burn because they're not eating anything, they're not fueling their body. They crash and burn because they're doing hours of cardio. They're doing hit workouts that are just putting stress and stress and stress on your body. And the focus, I mean, do what you enjoy. If you enjoy hit workouts, it's not to say don't do a hit workout, but at the end of the day, your goal should be more to build lean muscle mass. And create maintenance calories that are maybe might seem uncomfortable, but it allows you to eat and have those cheat days. And you're not going to feel like a sack of shit or potatoes after eating a pizza one night during the week. It just gives you so much more room for flexibility. The workouts are more fun and you're not just like dying the whole time. I mean, because that's a phase I went through when I graduated college and didn't know what to do. I started doing the HIIT workout cycle and eating minimally. I thought 1,200 calories a day was good. And that was what, like 5 years ago. So we all go through it. I mean, you have to be willing to listen and not be stubborn and set in your ways and scared to eat
What's
actual food.
what's like your current maintenance level?
That's, I want to say around 2,100, 2,200. When I was in prep, I never dropped below 1,600 calories. And I was eating on low days, like 160 grams carbs, on high days, like 180, 190 grams carbs. So
nice. So that's most women I work with. Generally, their maintenance is like, okay, we're going to get you to maintenance. Like, I think the lowest one I've had was like 1,850. It was like tiny human, like 5 foot even. And it's like, okay, you're just small frame. So heavy for her was like 150 pounds. Like she was trying to get down to like 120 ish. Like that was her normal. So yeah, that person's low, but most women are in that anywhere 2,000 to 2,500 range for maintenance. And then I tell them that, and it's like their jaw just drops. Like, what?
right. They instantly go to, I'm going to gain so much weight. And it might be you're going to gain a few pounds. But the end result, and that's why you don't wait until a month before your wedding or vacation, even 2 months, 3 months. I mean, you've got to give it time so you can actually figure out where your maintenance calories are, increase them, and then cut. And that's another thing people don't want to hear. It's not a sexy sell, and it's a frustrating sell, but when they get it, they get it. And it clicks, and everyone's happier at the end of the day because they're not stuck on some cookie cutter program. They're eating real food. They're happy. Their energy levels are up. Nothing but good things, but it's not a sexy sell because everyone sees the quick fixes, which aren't even realistic half the time either. No. That's another one of my pet peeves.
We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
For speaking of like not sexy sells, so currently I have a client dieting for his wedding in September, and we're almost to his like goal right now. But we started working, like we reverse diet back in October, and then started his diet in January. He's now like going into like his 5th month of the diet. We're almost to his goal. So he started at 230. His goal is to get to like 190. And he's like this week with his check-in, he was like 196, 197. It's like, then we're going to reverse diet and he's going to coast into his wedding. But most people are like 90 days out from the wedding, I need to lose 30 pounds. What? Like we should have started last year.
Yep.
But everyone wants the quick fix, which, yeah, we know how that goes.
And it makes sense. I mean, for a lot of people, those things aren't on the top of their mind until they realize, oh shit, it's November and I'm getting married in December, or that's my case. But people are busy, people are working. It's not like, I don't want to say it's their fault, but at the end of the day, it's their fault for not putting healthy lifestyle, taking care of their bodies, taking care of their nutrition year round so they can cut in 2 months for a wedding. Because that's the point where I'm at this point. I can wait until 2 months before I do something because I'm not trying to get stage lean anytime I'm trying to cut weight unless I'm getting on stage. I can find a happy medium where I'm decently cut. Like you can maybe see a little bit of the abs. That's it. But I'm to a point where I can do that a month, 2 months out because I've hit that cycle where I know exactly where my calories need to be. I've built that muscle. I've spent that time fixing my diet. And it's a great place to be. So
100%. It's way more fun to not diet as long. Currently, like I'm in the last week of my diet. So when this podcast comes out, I'll be currently reverse dieting, but I'm fucking done with the diet. Diets aren't fun. Like it's fun to
it's
see the
not fun.
changes, but they're not fun. But we have a diet culture that's like, oh, you're on a diet. What diet are you doing, Debbie? I'm doing this diet. What diet are you doing, Karen? I'm doing keto. Oh, amazing. Like that shouldn't be a bragging thing.
And
Should
there's
be
so
a,
much stress, like to be dieting for some reason or doing so well um with your calories or food or whatever you're eating. But in reality, like that's not year round. And we need to get out of that mindset. Is it easy for me to accept like the shape that I'm at right now after seeing myself so lean? No, 100% honest. I will never lie about that. Does it take practice? Like learning this is where I'm at when I'm building. This is where I'm at when I'm happy and enjoying life. Yeah, like
yep.
it takes time to accept that too. It's a tough thing to go through looking leaner, whether you're on stage or doing something like a wedding and then gaining that weight back again and then wanting to just cut back down, but you can't stay there realistically
No,
forever.
you can't be super low body fat. Like one, you feel like dog shit, like
Mm-hmm.
super low body fat. But there's a power in like once you understand the process, like the reverse diet, getting to maintenance, the building phase, and then the dieting phase. Like once you understand that process, you can pretty much get to like that leanness, like you said, like you can do it in 2 months. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can get to that level whenever you want. Vacation in a couple months, you just need a few months to get ready. Summer, you want to be shredded, cool. The rest of the year, you just spend like building muscle and being at maintenance.
Yep.
But
100%.
people think that I need to get down and I'm going to maintain this. And they don't realize like all the fitness models, the Instagram models, and everything else, they're either on drugs or they are, you're temporarily seeing like the photo shoot. Like, here's all these photos they took all at one time over like maybe a month when they were really, really lean. And then they just reuse those photos throughout the rest of the year.
Yep. There's a lot of editing that can be done with that too. Like you can literally crop yourself out of a scene and put yourself in a different scene to make it look even less batched. Like it's insane the kind of editing people can do. And it is 100% true. It's something that's been taught for a really long time for a lot of fitness influencers or anyone who's doing anything like that, to batch photos, especially when you are at a point that is a selling point, which is looking lean, looking your best. Like it kills me. I've been in kind of a rut because I'm not super lean and I know people see that and not everyone on the outside understands that process. So a lot of people think like, oh, she just like rebounded and now she's like super out of shape again. And like, I don't think I look terrible, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but I like to post, like, I feel weird about batching stuff or like reusing content from like a super long time ago. That's not how I look right now. But people do it all the time. And
All the time.
drugs,
And lots of
drugs are
drugs.
neat. Drugs
I
are
will,
neat.
drugs are interesting. I went through that. So I've been documenting like my dieting process. And yeah, like when I started, I was like, that's not me. Like, I don't look, no, that was reality. Like, I was not super lean. Like, I was definitely in the 20% for body fat. Like, the me I know, like when I was like in person training, I was like always hanging around 10% body fat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I just threw the picture up like, hey, here's reality. Here's what I look like right now. I don't look like a super shred trainer. And I'm just going to document like, here's a weight loss phase. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
people also go through different seasons of their life. Like I was not focusing on like my fitness at that time. Like I was trying to build business and do all these other things. I just had my daughter. Like
Mm-hmm.
wasn't
Yeah.
high priority. So yeah, I gained a little bit of weight, but because I knew what to do, like, okay, I can diet at any time. I'll just do that and get this weight off.
And I think that shows way more knowledge and self credit if you can go through those phases, show those phases, be comfortable with those phases, and understand like this is where I'm at. This is reality. Like we are all going to go through this, clients, trainers, everyone. And just because you're a trainer or a coach, it doesn't mean you have to have 6-pack abs all the time. Is it good to be able to document that and show that you can get lean again? Yes. And I think that's awesome. What you're doing is like documenting that process. Like, this is where I was, reality. I'm doing a cut now. This is where I can get myself. Like you have to be able to do that, I think, to show people that you can help them do that.
Yeah.
If you're just like lean, then how are you going to relate to anyone in the real world?
Exactly.
That's what I question a lot of influencers in my mind when I'm going through their pages.
That was me as a coach in my early 20s. Like, it's very hard to relate to people where it's so easy for me to lose weight. Like, just like cut out the excess and it's like my body fat would just drop super easy. Even though like I knew the science, I couldn't relate to like the human struggle component of like, here's a parent in their mid 30s or 40s and they're struggling with all these other obligations. Here's me as like a single, like early 20s, fresh out of college, like just follow these macros and do these workouts. They're like, I was up all night with a baby puking on me. I'm not fucking doing these workouts.
And you have to be able to relate to those scenarios. Or if you can't relate, you have to know how to handle those scenarios as a trainer. Because, yeah, I mean, you have to set realistic plans for your clients. You can't, if your trainer isn't taking into account like your personal life, they're probably not the best trainer for you. Like, I can't say enough good things about my coach and how just down to earth he is and understanding he is. And all I have to do is talk to him. We can restructure the plan, whatever. And I think we've all been there as trainers, coaches, people trying to help. And if you haven't, then you haven't learned enough yet.
Yeah. If you don't look at, like, if you're coaching someone, if you don't look at back a year from now and cringe at the stuff you did a year ago, like, you're not growing as a coach. You're not becoming better. Like, I'll look back, I'm like, why the fuck I didn't know any better, but why the fuck did I think that was a good idea?
Just thought I'd give it a shot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Heard it somewhere. But also science is always changing. Like what everything is. And I'm more old school. Like I don't know. I'm not really a big like new sciencey person. I believe in old school training. And I think you're kind of the same way, like follow the same plan. We don't need to throw like super fancy stuff in here.
Well, it's funny when you see the research that backs up, like, just do the old school stuff. Like, yeah,
it works for a reason. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But
there's a few things that will never change. You're going to lose weight only in calorie deficit, and progressive overload is the best way to get results in the gym. Like those things will never change.
100%.
So yeah, definitely old school. New school, like it's like a blend. Like some of like the newer school stuff it's good, but oftentimes it's overwhelming, or there's just like not enough data to back it up. Like one study came out, now everybody's doing red light therapy. Like, right. And I will shit on red light therapy because I have a red light therapy lamp literally right behind my desk and I use it. But it's one of those things, like it comes out like, maybe we shouldn't all jump on this thing. It's not going to magically melt belly fat off of you.
Yep. Quick fixes, there's probably a loophole or something that's not going to stick long term.
Quick fixes are like keto.
Like the red light therapy, you have to continue doing it or your body, like your skin goes back to whatever it was before.
Yeah. So. It's a constant thing. The cold showers, ice baths, doing some, well, now we have the keto vegan debates. There's the eye roll.
Could you hear that through like the podcast? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun one to deal with. They create great content or great engagement once they get on your social media, but they
Mhm.
that's interesting. And then we have Octavia now.
Just let that sit in silence for a minute. You want to talk about some fucked up calories that are recommended by people who are completely unqualified, because no qualified trainer would ever recommend you eat 800 calories of packaged food like that. No.
No,
My boss actually did Octavia, and had
so
to stop
always
because
past
she was,
tense.
yeah, one, it's a waste of money. It's so overpriced. Two, she was like starving.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
And yeah, Octavia, and what's the other really bad one? I want to say Beachbody, but I don't think they're as terrible. No, it is Beachbody. It's their like gut protocols,
oh, I
where
didn't know they had that.
they have like super strict lists and containers. You want to talk about getting yourself into a cycle of disordered eating? There it
It's
is.
that. It is follow this cultish program of eat these fuelings or whatever the fuck they call it. It's
And it worked for me, it worked for one other client, so we're going to push it out to the masses. And
to everyone.
so much wrong with that, so much wrong with that. And then you have unqualified people prescribing nutrition, gut protocol, fucking help. Like, I'm going to help you heal your gut. Well, listen, gut protocol or gut health is technically, like, the way we use it and see it on social media, that is a made up term.
Mm-hmm.
100% made up by influencers and supplement companies. There is such a thing as gut health, but it's literally referring to like the exact microbiomes in your gut and how they work together, not necessarily like healing your gut, if that makes sense.
It's so like I went a couple years ago, I went down the rabbit hole of gut health. And basically, the rabbit hole is like the actual experts studying this are like, we don't know jack shit yet.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, here's our microbiome. We have no idea what all of these bacteria and things do in our guts. Like, we have an idea on like 1%. It's probably more now. But back
Mm-hmm.
then, it was like, here's what we know, and here's all these things we don't know. So anyone who's not a researcher who's saying like, I can help you with your gut health, mm, probably not.
Yeah. And the only thing that is going to help is seeing like a true medical professional who's going to like prescribe you very specific medication or diet advice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I use very simple gut protocols with people. And it's basically like, we can do these things. And if they don't improve, you go do doctor. Like,
Yep.
elimination diets. That's one way that I will use the carnivore diet with my clients. It's like an elimination diet, and then we reintroduce foods,
Yeah.
or we might use some supplements. But if things don't get any better, it's okay. Like, we've tried this. You need a doctor. Go get a GI specialist, and then we'll talk about what we can do, because something's going on, and it'd be unethical for me to be like, oh, we will do this. Like, no, I'm not a medical professional.
Right. And that's, yeah, you said that way better than I did with the whole gut health thing. Basically, gut health gurus on social media are crocs of shit.
Pretty
And
much.
you should only see a medical professional. There's definitely ways to figure out like how to make your digestion a little bit better. Like with my prep, the first thing we cut out was dairy, because I
Mhm.
noticed like just a little bit of bloating, a little bit of gas. And I was eating like yogurt at some point in the day. And something else like cheese. I don't know. cottage cheese, something. So we cut that out completely and I was 10 times better. So there's like little things you can do to make yourself as a whole feel better. But when it comes to like healing your gut magically and it's going to forever be fixed and you're never going to be bloated again, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
100% bullshit.
Yeah. There's no like magic pill you could take to do that. It's no. So we have what's the other, like we have the gut people. What's the other one we have out there right now? Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I always draw blanks when I'm like put on the spot. So I feel you. I'm like,
Just one of those things like
brain goes
I'm
everywhere.
blanking. Yeah, it's like nails on chalkboard every time I see them. I'm like, oh my God, why is this still a thing? I mean,
Yeah.
that's keto. It's like, well,
Carbs,
carbs are bad.
sugars, people who say that you
That
shouldn't eat fruit.
that's it. The sugar and the fruit. Yes, that's always nails on chalkboard. Sugar's bad. Okay, well, what are you replacing that with? Like they always will say, like what I see is on other people's stuff, like someone comes in like sugar's bad. You are like being like doing a disservice, like you're an awful coach, or what you're eating has too much sugar. You shouldn't do that. It's like, but they offer no like replacements. Like they don't offer the person anything else. Like what do you like? You come in and tell them you can't eat something, but you don't tell them what else they can eat. They're already dealing with most people have a shitty relationship with food. So they get to this point of like, what the fuck can I eat? And then they'll just get to a point of, I don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah. And to go off that, like, is sugar bad? There's no good food and bad food. There's food in moderation.
Yep.
Is fruit bad? It's a whole food. So
Exactly.
I'm going to consider that something you should eat in moderation. Like if I eat too much pineapple, my mouth is literally stripped raw and my stomach hurts so bad. Like just because it's healthy whole foods doesn't mean you should go crazy with it, but it doesn't mean there's any reason to avoid it just because it has sugar. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Like to see both sides, like I get it, it's sugar, but there's absolutely no reason to avoid something like fruit. Now, if you're talking about like cookies and processed sugar, and if you're someone looking to lose weight, I would recommend probably cutting back on that just a little bit and maybe replacing that with fruit. Like,
yeah,
to
way more
sum that
filling.
up. Yeah. The one thing I can't stand when it comes to food, though, this is something I thought of when we talked about fruit. The people who say, like, what I eat in a day to lose belly fat, what I eat in a day to lose weight, what I eat in a day to get lean, what I eat in a day to bulk. Those posts are so misleading, especially if you have a very large following of people who are taking advice from you, because we're all different. And I think we've covered that pretty well. Like everyone's going to have different caloric intakes. Everyone's going to be in a different place. Where I'm at in my chapter is not where you're at in your chapter. It's
Right.
basic math, but people are still out there doing it. And I think it's fine to post like food inspos. Like this is an idea of meal prep that I make for my days. One thing.
Yep. Exactly. I've thought about doing some of those, like what I eat in a day things. That my issue is I always forget to film. But it's like it needs a disclaimer, like what I eat in a day. Disclaimer, like whole screen text, like this might not be right for you. Here are my
Right.
stats. Here are my calories. This is for my weight loss, not necessarily yours.
Right. And
That's
it's not
what
like you're
that needs to
saying
have.
what I eat for weight loss. It's what I eat. These, like the people
Yeah.
I'm talking about, are putting straight up for weight
Oh
loss.
yeah, I
Like,
know what you're saying. It's like this will make you lose weight, and it's like, well, this person who's 150 pounds and 5'2" isn't going to have the same results as this person who is 280 pounds and 5'11". Like that,
mm-hmm.
but you're telling your followers, here's what to eat to lose weight. What? That's really unethical.
Hmm. Yeah, we're still here. They're still there.
They're still there. Well, freedom of speech. So you're allowed to do whatever you want. You might get shadow banned, but you're allowed to post whatever you want.
So true. It's just frustrating because a lot of these influencers, I mean, some of their content is good. Other content posts are like that, where it's just cringe.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everyone needs to follow that exact advice, but the way you're phrasing it, it's all about how you word things, how you present things. Like the overall message might have good intentions, but like we just talked about, if you're telling everyone this is what you should eat in a day to lose belly fat, first of all, I'm going to say you can't target weight loss. Second of all, I'm not going to eat what you're eating. And that's that, period. End of discussion. So you should probably rephrase your post. But there's just so many people, and it's because they make good, appealing content that they get all of these followers. And then you're left with people who are just trying to do their best with their content and live their everyday lives while still, trying to throw education out there. And they do know what they're talking about, getting a lot less
Yeah.
interaction because it's not as sexy. It's not sexy selling, to tell the truth.
Well, if you're not posing in bikini 24/7, then yeah, good luck getting a massive audience.
My favorite meme ever is like a little like cartoon character, and it's like girls on arm day, and then it's like a bent over chick with like her phone like taking a picture of her butt
Yes.
and everything.
Yep. Accurate. Very accurate. Or the other ones is like chick like doing squats and it's like it has like 10 likes, and then it's like chick like posing in like a sports bra and stuff. It's like 1,000 likes. Like, yeah, that's
I'd
educational
say even
content.
like a
No.
chick doing like arm day, 10 likes. A chick doing squats with like their camera right at their butt,
Yeah. The weird like
5,000.
down 45-degree angle. Like,
Which is
yep.
like, how is that even helping you? Like, because I record, I don't know, that's a whole nother. I record to like watch my form and then I
Yes.
post it if
Same.
it's like decent quality of video recording. But yeah,
I record so much and I work out at night just because of my daughter, and I forget all the time to post anything. Speaking of which, I recorded myself last night and haven't even looked at it. But yeah, same. It's like you're not actually learning anything from that recording angle. Like with my clients, I'm like, it needs to be set about, between like knee and chest height, and then at a
hmm
45, not like on the floor, like staring straight. Like
I don't
that's
want to see your everything trying to correct your form. Like, I need
no,
to see your form. But they
just there
are
to see the
doing it
form.
for, content, video quality, like videography kind of style. But yeah, I mean, my brain goes straight to, I don't even have time to make a video like that because I'm already trying to record just to watch my technique and correct myself in the gym. So I don't
That
have my
that's
training
always my
partner.
thought. I'm like, well, some of them do have actual camera crews, or they're like trading
Mhm.
with their training partner, going back and forth with the camera all session long. I'm like, dude, like, are you actually working out hard? Like, I cannot work out hard and worry about the camera. Like, that's the last thing on my mind. I forget half the time. I'm like, I'm
Well,
gonna
that or
record this.
you're gonna be in there for like 4 hours. And I mean, hey, some of these kids have time for that, but I can't even
No,
complain because I don't have kids, but I do have a full-time job and 4 dogs. So
I
that's enough
get
for me.
like 1 hour max. It's like, well, some days it's like just 45 minutes, like in, out, that's it. And then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to record anything. Okay,
Some
that
days I'm just not feeling it. And I'm like, that's fine. You know what?
yep.
Maybe I'll take a picture at the end. I don't know. Post it.
Um exactly. Oh, so I have one thing you wanted to bring up was some crappy supplements you've tried.
Oh, boy. Um, the question is, should I
You
name drop some
uh
bitches? Are we
you,
gonna get
we
cease
can
and desist?
say like specific supplements like branch chains or stuff like that. Maybe not like call out exact companies.
I won't call out companies, but yes, there's so much to the supplement world. at the end of the day, supplements, it's an industry, it's a business. They're there to make money. Um, the people that are talking to you on social media or in the shops have good intentions. But the companies themselves that are making these products, it's good to keep in the back of your mind that this stuff is out there for them to make money, not for you. Um, and going off of that, a lot of the supplements out there might help one person, whereas the other person, it's just money down the toilet, specifically BCAAs.
Yep.
Let's talk about BCAAs. I think
Go in.
you and I have both hit on this. You eat BCAAs. They're not lacking in a average individual's diet. I almost said average healthy person, but I'm just going to say average because I don't even think we have to put healthy in that sentence, because if you're eating any sort of meat, and I mean, I'm like all over the place today. I think there's even vegetables and like other food out there that has BCAAs in it, so you don't even have to be like a meat eater to
Yeah,
get
you can
them.
get it from plant sources.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that they market this like you have to have it in and after or before your workout is just insane. And a lot of those cost like $40, $50. I could buy a whole outfit on Shein for the BCAAs. No, you're not selling me on that.
Yeah. And then when the research came out, like showing that it was not as effective as say like whey protein pre-workout, like just eat protein. Just get enough protein in your diet and you'll be fine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's only one situation I use. I don't even use BCAAs. I use essential amino acids, EAAs. It's people
Yep.
who, for whatever reason, they get super nauseous if they don't like if they eat anything around their workout, like 2 hours prior to working out, they still like get nauseous, but they
Yeah.
also go hypoglycemic. They get the low blood sugar during their workouts. Like I can count on one hand how many individuals I've done this with, but it's very, very specific. Like, hey, why don't you try this? And then they feel great.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like there are some people that it is going to be a tool for, and those people might have something that we don't know about because we're not a medical professional, or maybe they're lacking something in their diet that they're just not being honest about.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could just maybe need that because they have lower blood sugar because they're not eating like 5 hours before they work out in reality.
Yeah, usually they are in a dieting phase. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would take BCAAs when I was in prep. And that was because I was so on a fine line of malnourished, because bodybuilding is not healthy.
yeah,
You're malnourished. You're not eating enough to fuel your body. So yes, I did actually have BCAAs every day with my workout um when I was in prep. But any other time, I'm not taking them. If I do need something mid workout, like if I'm doing more powerlifting, another good tool that's cheaper is just having some like a big bag of gummies and grabbing a handful and maybe just kind of settling down for 5 minutes, letting that sugar kind of kick in. Um, that
yep.
or Gatorade.
That's what I would usually use. Is like I would buy the big thing of the Gatorade powder.
Yep. Just use a little bit of that and give
Yep.
yourself just a little kick to help you through the stress of the workout.
Good for
Yeah,
those long squat or deadlift sessions.
yeah. But every average Joe, Rue, what do you think about BCAAs? This is like all day. He sits right behind me on my chair. Um, but the average person is probably not putting themselves through that much exertion, that low of a diet, um, and doesn't need to waste that much money on the most expensive BCAA at the supplement store. There's even other ways you can get it. Like I would get mine through Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was about a $10 savings compared to what they would offer at
Yeah.
the sub stores. Cause I
Yeah.
love going into supplement stores and just looking at all the things.
It's like a candy store for adults. And then like after you get to like where we are, you're like, crap, shit, that definitely doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the fat burners, that's
Yep.
another, I mean, sure. The most you're doing is giving yourself energy. So
Hmm.
you're moving, and therefore moving burns more calories because you're like fidgeting, you're up more, you have that caffeine intake basically is what it is.
Try not to die of an anxiety attack with the
Oh
amount of
my God.
stimulants.
I have to be so careful with the fat burners I choose. There's only like a handful that I like because the rest just makes me like,
Awful. Yeah.
yeah.
I have I'm one of the like the 10% of the population that gets a severe reaction to Yohimbe. And so I get like flu like symptoms. Like I get the chills, the sweats, I get
Maybe
goosebumps all over my body.
because I have that too with,
Okay, so you might be like one of the small portion of the population that deals with that.
yeah, and I might be dramatic because I don't like feeling uncomfortable when I'm
No,
trying to work.
I feel off, like
But
nauseous, just
yeah,
awful whenever I take that supplement. And it's a real thing. Like 10% of the population gets reactions to that, but people take shit like that and be like, I'm burning body fat.
a lot of it is like too much, and people end up with those like jitters. And I have so many people ask me, like, what do you take for fat burning that doesn't give you jitters? And I'm like, well, I take caffeine and I try to make a point to move every hour.
That's
that's
it.
that's it. Um, Other than that, it's probably a waste of money for yourself.
Like
Um,
most of the good ones, like quote unquote good supplements, have been taken off by the FDA. So I'm like, we don't really have much left that's like legal for
yeah,
fat burning. Like green tea extract barely works. Green coffee extract does not work.
yeah. If you really want something that works, it's pseudoephedrine, but it's not. I do not. I'm saying this with a very big, bold disclaimer. That shit is not meant to take long term. It
Yeah.
causes a lot of side effects, especially in women, sometimes in men. Um, it'll like decrease some sexual desire kind of situations. So yeah, but pseudoephedrine is very effective with caffeine.
With
That's a very
giant,
old school.
that is an old school. That's
Mhm.
very old school. It works, but there's a massive asterisk there of like you're gonna have a lot of side effects. And people don't realize that with all the more powerful the supplement, especially when it comes to fat burning, the more side effects you're gonna have. And they tend to get really nasty. Like
Yeah.
even just a fat burner, like anytime you take stimulants, you're going to increase adrenaline and cortisol. Well, if you already deal with anxiety in a high stress job, like you're just going to amplify that
Yep.
a lot. Um,
Yep.
Especially if you don't read the label and then you take it with your Starbucks. Did that once. That did not end well.
Well,
That
and
was
that's the thing. It's almost like a game of, am I gonna end up in the hospital today if you start taking too much at once?
mhm.
Because it can happen very easily. And that's with any supplement. I mean, if you have any underlying conditions, that disclaimer that says consult with your doctor before taking, it means it. I have said this on my own podcast before when I have like 2 episodes out that have gone in depth on a few different supplements like greens, BCAAs. A lot of them have ingredients that counteract with medications. So, um, making sure that you're not walking that fine line words and putting yourself in a position where you could end up in the hospital if you're doing this long term and causing that damage is huge. So, um, the average healthy individual who's not really taking any medications, you probably don't have much to worry about. But there's a big majority of America on some sort of medication for
Yep.
something.
Yep. At least 50% of our population is taking one med. It might be higher than 50%
Mhm.
has at least one medication, which is scary to think. Like, what?
Or prescribed is even higher. Like, are they taking it?
Yeah.
Because I'm prescribed anxiety medication, but I don't really take it anymore because I just didn't jive with it. It wasn't.
Yeah. So I know with my clients, I'm super boring. I'm like, take a multivitamin, take
Mhm.
fish oil, take vitamin D, and if we need it, we're gonna take magnesium with for your sleep.
Yeah.
That's super boring. Like nothing sexy about that. People are like,
Well,
wait,
and it's easy.
that's it.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Don't have to stress about much. Like that's all things that our body can definitely use. Especially as women, if you're dieting, having that fish oil can really help your cognitive and overall like women capabilities.
Yep.
So yeah, things like that. Those are definitely really good. And that's basically what my stack looks like. It's like a multivitamin. Um, or I'll take my vitamin D, and that's really it. Magnesium every once in a while. Um, yeah.
It's boring, but it works. Like
I do love pre-workout. I swear by pre-workout though. I will never diss on pre-workout.
pre-work, I only
I
diss on
can't.
pre-workouts when they're underdosed.
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
I only diss on pre-workouts when they underdose, like when they're basically just like expensive caffeine, and they're like, oh,
Oh,
there's creatine in here, and it's like 500 milligrams.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
like just go take a caffeine pill or drink an
yeah,
energy drink. Definitely I would recommend the caffeine pills because it's way cheaper than buying energy drinks, but that's just
way cheaper. Uh,
um yeah, you gotta find one with like beta alanine in it and some other good stuff.
beta-alanine, citrulline, creatine, like all that stuff in there at the right dosage can really
Mhm.
amplify your workout. Some of the nootropics out there are really nice with when you combine it for the mental focus, but again, proper dose. So make sure that they're actually putting in the right dose. And I'm going to put the disclaimer on the beta alanine. If you probably know what I'm going to say, if you've never taken it, you're going to feel like your face is tingling about. You're going to scratch it off.
Yep, for sure. And I prefer it because I know it has a lot of benefit to strength increase. I mean, not like a lot, but like taking it is better than not taking it. As far as strength increase goes and helping with strength. So that is like why they put that in there is because there's studies that show it helps with the strength. Um, but it does, yeah. Yeah.
There's a
I
side
take
effect.
very high dosages and very like 250 caffeine. Um, but yeah, I've been taking pre-workout for a while. So I usually tell people to start with like Mr. Hyde or
Yeah,
something
that's a good
basic.
one.
I love Mr. Hyde. It's a good one. It really
there,
is.
uh, I like the ones NutriBio puts out. Um, they have some great ones, but yeah, if you're never take a pre workout, just be aware of the beta alanine, or a lot of them will use the niacin with beta alanine to give you extra flushing. So that's just a little disclaimer there. But don't take pre workout if you're like an afternoon workout person and you're going to struggle to fall asleep. Or you can find some stim free, but they're not quite the same.
Yeah. It's like placebo effect.
Yeah.
You can also like make your own pre-workout if you know what you want. Like if you just wanted the beta and maybe the citrulline or whatever else that works for you or that you want out of a pre-workout, buy those ingredients alone. And a lot of the time they'll last you longer than a pre-workout stack and they will probably end up like cheaper in the long run
Yep.
if you just buy those alone. And you can do that through like Amazon. You can go to supplement stores are going to try and sell you on like some product, but Amazon's probably my go-to. I love bulk
I was
supplements.
gonna say bulk supplements. Yep.
Yep.
I do that with so I like electrolyte supplements, especially like when I'm out hiking and stuff. So I do like my own electrolyte supplement. Just I bought the ingredients and I make it myself instead of spending like
Yeah.
30-40 bucks a month. Like I can just do this every day. I think I put $30 up total for like a year supply.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just no
They're awesome.
flavoring. So if listeners like if you're like, "Oh, I'll do that." There's no flavoring and some of the stuff tastes like garbage.
Mio water.
Mio, Mio. Don't. I
But
made the
wait, there's
mistake.
aspartame in that.
There's like 37 different like Mios.
Ugh.
Pick the one you want, but you can't cover that shit with like just like lemon juice and stevia. Like you will have a bad time. You can buy you know what actually works pretty good is if you're trying to avoid the artificial sweeteners from like soda stream, they have like the bubbly, like the natural flavoring little bottles. That
Oh
actually works
yeah.
pretty good. Um it's not going to be good enough to like cover amino acids though,
Yeah, I
because
just I just do the sweetener
yeah,
thing.
you'll need the sweetener. Have you ever had like just plain BCAs or EAAs?
It's not, have you, no, it's not a
No,
good
it's
time.
not a good time. It's awful.
10 out of 10 would not recommend. Put something in that. Some flavor, Crystal Light, Mio, Soda Stream flavor.
It it's a
You're
bad time.
Yeah, it's not yummy, but some people don't really have like taste buds because they had the vid.
Yeah, I guess I get it. Like
maybe
I
they'll maybe they'll tough it down and be like, I don't taste anything.
I did that in college, trying to be cheap as like, oh, the first time I just remember. I can still like almost taste it now. Like, oh, it's so bad. Like
I can taste like the creatine powder in my mouth right now. It's like chalky and
we're really selling it. We're really selling it on.
just put some Mio in it.
Yeah.
It's fine. We can maybe
Would
cut this part out.
nah. No, it's good
Yeah.
because people will like if I'm like looking at myself from 10 years ago, I'll be like, I'm tough. I'll just do it plain. I'll save the money. I don't want the artificial flavoring. Like, no, have the little bit of artificial flavoring. Like, get that in because you're not going to choke it down. You're not going to do that day in and day out. There's no way.
Yeah. No. You need something in there. Make it fun. Don't make it that's probably like the piece of advice I would leave on is make it enjoyable at the end of the day. Like make it something that you enjoy because that's what's going to keep you going when the motivation fails. And I think so many people stress about like, oh, that wasn't the right thing, or oh, I messed up. Like at the end of the day, if you're staying consistent with your routine versus not going because you just weren't feeling it that day, um, that's going to be 10 times better down the road.
Yeah.
When I was in bodybuilding prep, I got so sick of arm day. I literally had it. I called up my friend. We met at the gym and we had our own little like powerlifting meet for the afternoon. Like, and that was my workout. I completely skipped arm day. Like, it's fine. I'm fine. I did fine. You don't have to be 100% perfect.
No,
Just
exactly what
make
you
it,
said. Consistency.
yeah,
But
make
where
it
I
fun.
feel like with like people like Andrew Huberman and a lot of the other podcasters out there talking about like optimal. Like people are like, if I'm not perfect, then why do it? And I know even in his podcast, he's like, you don't need to be perfect, but people selectively avoid that. It's the whole C's get degrees argument. Like, just get the C, get the C. You don't need to
Right.
be
And
A plus.
you have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
So when you start, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to be learning. And if you're so hyper focused on being absolutely perfect, one, that's going to suck the fun out of it. Um, Two, you're going to be so in your head like the whole time, more than likely, that it's going to be even worse. like, like,
yes,
do things to improve your technique, but you have to start somewhere. And something is better than nothing as long as you're not. It's so hard to say things like this because then I'm like, well, now someone's going to go out there and just like completely butcher a squat and tear their ACL, but you can't like, don't, what's the word I'm thinking of? You can't like
that's why I
take what
like.
people say and like overdo it.
Yeah,
Like take what people say with a grain of salt. That's what I was trying to say, I think.
that's why I like the C's get degrees analogy of like it's better to like C is still passing. So it's still like you're not butchering a squat. You're not like totally blowing off your diet. It's just good enough to pass. but we don't want to be like, you did A plus work, but you didn't hand it in. Like you still get an F.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter. Or so it's like, that's why I like that analogy, because it's, you got to do just enough to pass some days. And then other days, like you will have the mental energy to get, do the B plus, the A plus effort.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that
Awesome.
described.
Well,
Um,
I have to go and we're out of time. That flew by. So, where can people find you?
you can find me on any social media. It's Ashtagfit, ASHTAGFIT.
Awesome. And then you are starting up your podcast again, correct? Like season
So
2.
yeah, I guess that's what we could call it, season 2. Yeah, I'm working on getting back on track with that. I really enjoyed the few episodes I did. So, and that is what the fitness podcast.
Awesome. So that will all be down in the show notes. So go check Ashley out. Again, thank you for coming on, Ashley. We'll definitely have to do part 2 in the future.
Oh my gosh, yes. Let's do it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a review and give it 5 stars, as that helps other people find the podcast. And obviously, go check out the show notes, give Ashley a follow, check out her stuff. And if you are interested in joining PWC or grabbing the 5-day Faster Fat Loss course, check that down in the show notes for our client application.